Hi there, and in this episode of The Adventures of Beardman, Scientific Adventures of Beardman, we're going to be looking at some of the ways that the ocean has been explored over the years. Now, as mankind began to explore the oceans, it was primarily for conquest and trying to get resources from through trade from various locations. And often there would be a doctor on board who might do some scientific studies of stuff they were going through or what was going around, the animals they encountered, and record a little bit of information. But the first time that there was an actual ship that was devoted to scientific research was the Challenger expedition in the late 1800s. It measured many things such as ocean currents, water temperature, chemical composition, seafloor sediments, topography of the ocean floor, otherwise known as bathymetry, and marine life. Now, one of my favorite stories is about the topography. What they would do is they would basically just lower down a rope. So your ship's up here, it lowers down a rope. When that hits the bottom, you kind of measure how much rope was hanging there. Well, if you use rope stretches, so that's not ideal. So what they actually got made for them was basically a very long piano wire. Okay, made a little bit thicker, but the same technology, and so it would not stretch, and so they could mark off distances on it and lower it down and measure what was there. Now, of course, the great scientific advance was that you could put a bucket at the end of this, right, and scoop up what was on the bottom so you could see what kind of sediments were on the ocean floor. So the Challenger and many other ships went around with these and measured depths and got some idea of what the ocean was like. But you can imagine this takes a long time. You move over, lower something down, raise it back up, and continue on to the next spot until you can find out what was there. Well, of course, this became much quicker and easier with the advent of sonar. The German ship Meteor was the first one to use this for topography. Of course, sonar stands for sound navigation and ranging. Basically sends out a sound from the ship. The sound travels to the bottom and back up. And that, based on how long that takes, we know how fast the sound travels in water, and you can calculate how deep the ocean floor is. Now, that got even more useful as we developed side-scan sonar, which allowed the ship to send out signals to the side so it could measure a mountain that's over here, and you could see what the side of that mountain looked like using this side-scan sonar. It also, there was multi-scan sonar, which allowed sound to go out in all kinds of different directions and come back, so you could get a wider reading at one time. So as you traveled across the Atlantic, you could get, a mile wide all the way across. I mean, of course, there's, 20,000 miles or so across the Atlantic, so that's a lot of trips back and forth if you want to measure the whole thing. And you have to go a different place each time, and most ships take the same trade routes, and so that's what would have been measured first. Of course, the other huge thing that's been helpful has been satellites, such as Topex Poseidon, and following that, Jason 1, Jason 2, and Jason 3. And they are able to quickly measure the height and temperature of the ocean water, which can give you a picture of the ocean floor as well as give you an idea of ocean currents and things like that. So that's the stuff that we need to know for our class regarding how science has explored the oceans. Thanks for listening. This has been the Scientific Adventures of Beardman.